Sorry, 1 second. That's right. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my session on monitoring your Content Hub solution with APM tools. So I'm going to give you a very brief introduction on who I am and also about Content Hub in case anyone doesn't know. So my name is Timothy Marsh and I'm a solution architect at APM Systems. 2023 is my first year of getting MVP and also my first SUGCON. Right, very briefly, let's talk about what Content Hub is. So it's literally the best product in the Sitecore suite, and obviously there should be more people here, but they're not. But essentially it is a DAM solution. So what it is that it has a lot of extra modules around the side that you can be added in and give users and companies extra features all within one contained solution. For me, a major benefit though is that everything is fully integrated. So if you're doing stuff for your DAM, your print, your PIM, it's all there. It's also about finding the right mix of out-of-the-box functionality with custom development. Now, on this next slide, you can actually see that Content Hub is actually very simple to integrate with a lot of other platforms. Now, you have Sitecore products on there and other products, but the nature of it being a foundational product is that it can connect with anything. So, let's just move on to the problem briefly, and then what we'll do is we'll talk about some of the possible tools you can use. So we're going to compare straight away SaaS versus non-SaaS. So non-SaaS applications, they tend to give you more control. So XP is a really good example of that, where you can control everything. You can control your code, your infrastructure, your hosting, anything you need. You have a lot of control. In comparison, SaaS applications, parts of it are managed by the vendor, in this case Sitecore with Content Hub. However, Sitecore Content Hub is a unique product. It actually gives us a very good way of extending the product and doing a lot more with it. So even though we have less control over the core application, we actually control lots of bits in between. But SaaS applications naturally are black boxes, and as I say, we don't normally get access to the inner workings. So the question you might be asking for is, why would we want to or need to look inside? As I've said, Content Hub is very versatile and it's built for extension, but chances are you've probably got one or more integrations. These could be APIs, functions, JavaScripts, or other mechanisms. And this is when monitoring comes in. It's the bits in between the applications. So I've mentioned to you why you'd monitor, but how do you monitor? And this is where APM tools come in. So an APM tool is a piece of software that you can use to plug into your application, and then you can get loads of information. So how healthy the service is, the integration points, anything you need to know, how fast it's going, errors, anything you need. There are loads of tools on the market, like CMSs. However, there is some really good ones out there, and I've used all the ones on the screen here. They all offer very similar functionality. Some of them are paid for, some of them are very expensive, some of them are free. I would actually, if there's any that you see you want to have a go with, they normally have a free capacity, go and try them out. And this is with Content Hub, but you can use APMs of anything, and you probably have. Metrics and data are obviously the next part. So each tool can extract different parts of data. So it could be on your failures, it could be on your connections in between, it could be your load times, anything that's needed. And the best part is you can go back into historical data, normally up to 30 days. So if you've found a problem, you can actually go back and find where the problem was, normally find a section of code, and then you can obviously fix it. So I've told you what an APM is, briefly about Content Hub, but very quickly, what I'm talking to you here is about how to add an APM to Content Hub. It's really simple. There's 3 steps. So the first step is that we're going to set up your tools and we're going to get a Google tag. The last step, which is literally enter in a bit of text and save it, is you add it to Content Hub. So briefly here, what we're going to talk about, we're going to start with analytics. So some people have done it, some people haven't, but the idea is you go to Google Analytics, you set up a new account, you set up a new container and a new property, and then it gives you then you set up your data stream, and then it gives you a little measurement ID in the bottom corner. This is what we're going to use to give to our tag manager, because the way this works is you use Google Tag Manager. Content Hub have given you a way to inject that tag ID in. So any JavaScript you can use, you can actually then inject it into any page. Right, next tool we're going to look at is Application Insights. A lot of people have used this one. Most people that are using Azure as a cloud provider, they probably use this as an APM. And exactly the same thing here. You set up a new account, you get an ID, and then I've blanked it out here obviously, but you get an instrumentation key. And that's also what we then need. So when you've got your tools, now you'd repeat this for as many tools as you want to do. So you could have 1, you could have 10, doesn't matter. So whatever tools you need, you can inject them this way. So now the next part is setting up a Google tag. And I'd never done this before, but it's really simple to do. You go to Tag Manager, you put your information in, you say it's for web, and then you literally you have loads of different options on what you can create. In this case, I'm going to create a Google Analytics configuration. So that's the measurement ID I had in step 1. We add that there. So now what this is going to do is every time a page, and we set this up to be initialized on all pages. So every time a page in Content Hub, in this case, is loaded, it will track all that information. The next tag we're going to add is obviously for the APM. So in this case here, this is just boilerplate code from Azure, but this is the code here you'd use to add in your application insights. Same thing, you add in your tag, and then in this case it's initialized on all pages when the content's loaded. And what this will do, this will track all the events that on the browser that Content Hub's doing. And obviously you repeat this for all of your systems, and then you publish it. And then this is the really easy bit. You then take that, where is it? Okay, so it's right off the edge of the screen, but there's an ID saying GTM. You set a GTM tag, you go to Content Hub, you go to your settings, and you literally paste it in and save, and that's it. Now, as soon as you start refreshing your pages, all that data is being transmitted back to whatever tools you've configured. So now I'm going to talk about the outcome here. So the question you're probably asking is, does it add benefit? And I'm going to give you a user example in a minute. But the best part is, yes, it does give you it. You know, you're being notified. So where before Content Hub, if there's errors, stuff can fail silently because it is a SaaS product. Sitecore's a big company. They have a lot of solutions out there. For us, though, we need the answers quickly. What's going wrong? So, you know, this could be, you know, where does the issue lie? So it could be, have we done something wrong in the code? Have we done something wrong with our components? Is there a problem with the service or some other platform? And then the best part is here, it actually turns your teams from reactive to proactive, because they're actually, instead of responding to events, they can actually detect them straight away and not being told by the customer or something like that. So I have an anonymous customer case here. So for this one here, it's a major global brand based in France, and they're a big producer and distributor of products. Content Hub is a critical system for them, and it is used 24 hours a day globally. Now, the data you can see here was actually pulled off Google Analytics this morning, but in the last month, we've had over 1,000 users, unique, 260 page views, 70 countries, and over 200,000 products and assets. And in that, I can see what products are being accessed in Content Hub, what pages, what assets. We can see everything now, and we can see that, you know, response times. So with this customer, before we had the APM monitoring, they were not a happy customer. We were raising tickets literally 2 or 3 a week to Sitecore support because graph was broken, the API is down, the system was not working. The team was constantly fighting fires, and I say support tickets going through the roof. And then the API, so for anyone that's using Content Hub by default has a 15 per user per second, 15 per second per user request limit. We were hitting 60 at one point for about 4 hours a day, and it was support weren't happy. We were getting a lot of trouble. But after we added the monitoring, what we actually done is we found out where the bottlenecks were, where the issues were, quite easily. And there was no outlay here because they all did application insights. Everything else was free. But the best part is there's now a massive reduction in our tickets. We're notified in minutes. And I say everything, we now can see a snapshot of what's going on with the platform. Because the good part with this customer is they're integrated to so many other platforms. We have a lot of functions. So now we then know if the API's crashed or something's crashed in the API, we can actually see in application insights where the error's lying and what's causing it. And it'll give us some information. But it extends further, because obviously Content Hub, I said with this customer, they have a lot of downstream integrations. We were doing obviously a lot of work with the API. So what our team actually done is we made a lot of changes to how we were calling the Content Hub API. Stuff that we had gone unnoticed for years with this customer. They hadn't seen, it got worse and worse as they added more products. So as we did more and more work with it, we actually then started seeing performance issues disappear. The website Content Hub was getting quicker. Integrations were working instantaneous, and before there was all bottlenecks with the Content Hub code because essentially we'd broken it. The last point here, though, is the customer now has the information, so they can see a snapshot of their entire application. So whether this is the functions, the service bus, Content Hub itself, they see everything all together. And now they get the alerts. So, I mean, that's the key. I can actually give you a bit of a story, though. So actually on Tuesday afternoon at 2 minutes past 11, so 11 minutes past 2 even, I started getting emails that said to the team that production was down before the customer found out. We realised, logged into App Insights, and the event was over. However, we we emailed Sitecore support and said, production was down. What's going on, guys? It turns out there was a Cloudflare issue in the European region that caused the thing to go down. We'd alerted Sitecore, and I found out from someone downstairs yesterday that we actually had the alert out before Sitecore did. We told support before they'd even had the Cloudflare notification because our system was down, because users were trying to use it and the API was crashing. Normally that would have then gone on for days where we'd have to go back to support, they have to find the issue. And it's not their fault, it's just that they're very busy. But with us, we can actually tell them, so we knew exactly what was happening. So, I've got 2 minutes left, but I'll just call it there. But, the idea is it's about monitoring your solution. It literally takes minutes to set up. It's sort of a no-brainer for most customers. You obviously become more of a proactive team versus reactive, and it gives you insight. You can actually understand how your solutions are performing against, with the infrastructure, different events. So I think that's it. But yeah, that's it. You can contact me there. There is a QR code in the bottom if you want to see my blog, but I'm online. And thank you very much to the sponsors. Any questions? I'm happy to answer. Happy if there's not. I don't mind. It's lunchtime.
Thank you very much.
Cool. There you go.